Hey LVC, TC Kirkham here, TKR Video Central. Welcome to the latest installment of TC's Vinyl Archive. This could be a long one, but I think it's going to go shorter than I think because this is a greatest hits section. All the albums I'm featuring today are best ofs, collections, stuff like that. And I'm not going to talk a lot about them unless there's something special about them. I'm just going to show them off. And, some artists have more than one. Um, but this is almost two full cubes. So hopefully we will be able to get down through this inside of, I'm going to say 30 to 40 minutes. Hopefully won't be longer than that. I actually have them in two rows. Starting off with this group, they have had several greatest hits albums out over the years, and I have three of them. This is the original, ABBA's Greatest Hits. This had Fernando was new off of this in America. Richard McCook can tell us how it was in England. I don't know when this was released. And it had a lot of album tracks on it as well as hit singles. Then there was ABBA's Greatest Hits Volume 2. This covered the next section, starting with Dancing Queen and stuff from Arrival through, I believe, Voulez-Vous. Maybe Super Trooper. I'm not sure. And then there is the collection, ABBA, the singles, the first 10 years. These are presented in chronological order, and it goes from Ring Ring through Under Attack from 1982. So this was a great deal of fun. This was also the final album they released in America until, what was I can't remember the name of the newer one. Oh well, I'll think of it. Air Supply's Greatest Hits, exactly what it says it is. All their big hits from the first three or four albums on Arista. Four Cider, Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass. This is a two-record set featuring a lot of their biggest hits and a lot of their album favorites as well. History, America's Greatest Hits. This goes up through Daisy Jane and Woman Tonight from Holiday in 1975. Once again, most of these are presented in uh, release order, which is unusual. This was also an RCA album. There's the RCA stamp at the bottom, meaning it came from the record club. Lynn Anderson's Greatest Hits. These are all genres, by the way, just so you know. Lynn Anderson's Greatest Hits. This has Rose Garden, Cry, Nothing Between Us, Listen to a Country Song, How Can I Unlove You? 70 to 73 probably, or 72. And then from mid 73 on, Lynn Anderson's Greatest Hits Volume 2. This has her cover of Top of the World on it, as well as all What a Man My Man Is, All the King's Horses, Song About Love, Rodeo Cowboy. Those were her big hits in the mid 70s. The Association's Greatest Hits. This, I believe, came from Steve at Value Vinyl. Not in the greatest shape, but it does play. Has all their big hits. Windy, Along Comes Mary, so on and so forth, that were hits in the 60s. I thought this would be fun to have, and I was right. It's very interesting. I don't understand everything because it's in French, but the man was just fantastic. The Aznavour story. This is basically a greatest hits album for Charles Aznavour. Um, a lot of great stuff on here. Terrific sounding stuff. Hits Greatest Than Others from Joan Baez. All of her major hits are here. This was released in 74, so it does not include Diamonds and Rust and a couple of other singles from that album. The Baja Marimba Band, Julius Wechter and the Baja Marimba Band. These guys were the Tijuana Brass without Herb Alpert. That's basically what they were. And they did all kinds of stuff on it. They had hits on easy listening radio, and it's got great stuff on it. A very fun, listenable album with a cool little gatefold there. Um, picked this up, I believe, from Adam at Record Crate a couple years ago. This is a DJ only album. Sassy, Miss Bassey. This is Shirley Bassey, features most of her big hits, released on United Artists Records. Greatest hits from Bay City Rollers. All of their major hits were on here, including, Saturday Night, I Only Want to Be With You. You made me feel, made me, you made me believe in magic, and the way I feel tonight. I always get those mixed up. Endless Summer. Is there anybody that doesn't have this from the Beach Boys? This is probably their best collection. They have a box set. They have like 7 or 8 of these different compilation albums, but this has all the big hits on it, and it's all I really needed. The Beach Boys, although I do have a couple other things by them. Some of these may surprise you as you go through. Not all of them, obviously. This one's not going to surprise you. This is the 1979 collection of Bee Gees music, Bee Gees Greatest. There is one called Record, which I have on DVD, on CD. This has Bee Gees hits of the RSO era and a few of their album tracks, including their versions of I Can't Have You and what was the other song? Rest Your Love on Me, which was a bigger hit for Olivia Newton-John than it was for them. Bread, the best of Bread, all their soft rock, yacht rock hits came out in 72, I believe. I got this from Black Box, and I didn't even know he had a hits album. I'm glad I got it. The Stars Beneath My Feet, 2004 to 2021. This is James Blunt, double album set. All of his great hits that were good songs that nobody here knows half of except You're Beautiful and maybe High in 1973. The rest of them were not huge here. Captain and Tennille Greatest Hits. This is the original one that was released during the run of their television show in 1976. Features 6 big singles and 4 or 5 album tracks, plus We Never Really Say Goodbye, which came from their television show. Eric Carmen, the best of Eric Carmen. This does not include any Raspberry stuff, but it does include Hungry Eyes and Make Me Lose Control, his last big hit in 1989. As you guys know, I love this dude. And there is a more definitive collection that has a couple of things on it from Japan, but I've never picked it up. Don got on me when I was doing the duos about, well, where's the greatest hits album of the Carpenters? It's here. I actually have 3 of them. And there's a 4th one that I don't have that I never bought. This is the original album, the singles, 1969 to 1973. This has everything from Ticket to Ride through, what came out last off this? Top of the World, I think. Um, It came originally with a book, which I have not put back in here, but which Dawn did find me a copy of in her resale things. It's actually in my drawer over here. This was one of the very first albums, and it's unusual that it would be a Carpenter's album, where the tracks never end. The tracks segue in one into another. Richard Carpenter has now said he would have never done that today, but he thought it was cool and innovative at the time. All their big hits early, and you can tell, look at the ring wear on this thing. It got plenty of play. Then there are the 2 As Seen on TV albums. This one is the UK release, Yesterday Once More. And this one is the American release, Yesterday Once More. They are basically the same package, but there's a couple of different songs on each one. And it's a double record set. It has all their hits, a number of their album hits, Jambalaya, which was a hit in Japan, and a couple of different songs depending on which countries you're listening to. And great pictures and stuff inside. Cher's Greatest Hits. This is the original from when she was on CAP and later on MCA. Everything from Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves through I Saw a Man and He Danced with His Wife, plus a few other album tracks. Great. Early Cher. Or, well, mid-level Cher. Early Cher would have been the 60s. And I had that Cher Super Pack that I showed you, I believe, already. Chicago, this is technically Chicago 7 or Chicago 9, Chicago's greatest hits. And it has all their big hits on it from 1970 to 1974. This is a TV album. Picked this up from Adam for $4.99. It has all of her big hits on it. This is Petula Clark, and Petula, this is a UK issue, and everything that's on here is pretty much a hit and really, really fantastic. I picked this up from Craft Recordings when they reissued it in 2022. Got two more of those over here too. I love this gentleman. I always did. I'm not a big country music fan. My mom was the country fan. Um, I like certain artists, but this guy was the heart and soul of Hee Haw for so many years, and I love the dude, and I love the stuff he wrote. This is Roy Clark's greatest hits. What a guitarist, also. Amazing, amazing stuff. And it includes, Thank God and Greyhound, Yesterday When I Was Young, Riders in the Sky, all of his big hits. Um, I picked this up from Adam too. I don't know. I had a lot of her singles, but I thought, well, I might as well grab the album because there are some singles I don't have. Rita Coolidge's greatest hits. This includes the only hit she had on A&M that isn't included on this because it came out a year earlier is the theme from Octopussy, All Time High. Everything else is on here. You is not on here either, come to think of it, which I love You. I thought You was what the title track from her 78 sort of pseudo disco album. They didn't include that, which is a shame because it's a great song, but everything else is there. Dave and Sugar, if you are a country fan from the mid 70s, you may remember Dave and Sugar. My favorite song by them was I'm Gonna Love You, which was a pretty monster hit. And honestly, I don't even think that was included on here. I think they felt it wasn't as big as some of their other stuff. Dave Rowland and Sugar, what they would be known later, and they changed a couple of members of Sugar now and then. But it's a great album, great stuff from them. Another country rock crossover type, Mac Davis, greatest hits. This has all of his stuff from the late 70s. He jumped to Casablanca in 1980 for more music, but all of his Columbia hits are here. Told you when I was showing my record store day stuff, I love this woman, Jackie DeShannon. This has Put a Little Love on Your Heart, What the World Needs Now is Love, all of this stuff. Again, though, recorded before she did wrote Betty Davis Eyes or co-wrote it. And all of these, this is a later release on Liberty, a reissue, originally on United Artists. No Volume 1, which you'll find a lot of these on, but I do have Volume 2. I do have Volume 1 on CD. Volume 2, John Denver's Greatest Hits. This has the songs from 74 to 77 on them. Annie's song, Farewell Andromeda, Like a Sad Song, like I Thank God I'm a Country Boy, Calypso, I'm Sorry, all those are on here. Um, this is the Windstar Greatest Hits, which came from Black Box. This is John's re-recordings of several of his big hits, but it is all hit singles, even though they're not the original, and they're really good too. I mean, the dude was never bad. Never bad. And having him redo them was fine for me. Um, Dire Straits, Money for Nothing. This is their greatest hits album. Includes everything from Sultans of Swing through the music from Brothers in Arms. Um, the one thing that's missing from this album, which I was kind of disappointed about, was Skate Away, which I really like. They have Down to the Waterline instead from this first album. But I thought Skate Away should have been on here. I love that song. Mid 70s issue for the best of the Doobies. Listen to the music, technically the title of the album. Excuse me. This covers everything from 1970 to 1974. No, 75, because Black Water is included on this. I think it was a brand new single at the time. Not a big fan of this person, but it is a seminal album, and I got it for free from Steve at Value Vinyl, except postage. And it's nice to have it because it is. It's a classic album. Bob Dylan's greatest hits. He's gonna go around singing now. or purporting to sing. Sorry. Um, I got this from Adam at Record Crate. This is also the earlier stuff. This is their Soul City label hits album. This is the Fifth Dimension. So Soul City means this has Up, Up and Away, Aquarius, and Wedding Bell Blues on it. That era. Foreigner Records. This includes the 10 big hits they had from their first three albums. And first four albums, sorry, Urgent's on here. Um, the later collection on CD is better. It's got everything. Marvin Gaye Greatest Hits Live in '76. This was recorded at a sold out concert in Amsterdam. And it's all of his hits, live versions. I figured I might as well put it in the hits because it really does do hit sounding. This came from Black Box. It's really fantastic. Um, got this from Adam at Record Crate, and I wanted it for years before that. And when he had it for sale, I grabbed it. This doesn't include everything, but it does include most of the stuff that was done from the late 1950s through 1976. This is Dickie Goodman's greatest hits. So it's a lot of cut-in stuff, and I thought he was funny as hell, and I still do, and love that. Got this from Black Box and have played it and played it and played it since. Al Green's greatest hits. He is one of my favorite artists of the early '70s. Love the dude. This one is Bill Haley's greatest hits. This is a Decca reissue from the 1960s, I believe. All of the big hits, but mostly Rock Around the Clock, Shake, Rattle, and Roll, and See You Later, Alligator were the biggest. Perhaps the most important greatest hits album in my collection, besides The Carpenters. This is Middle of Everywhere, the greatest hits from Hanson. 3 record set on orange vinyl, includes everything from Mbop through I Was Born in 2018. If you're not a Hanson fan, this is a great place to start because it's got a lot of stuff that you probably never heard on it. But they were all singles. Most of them were. One of two different albums I have, Hermits hits. This one is the best of Hermits. This is an MGM release from the States. And years ago in the cut-up bin, I picked this up. The most of Hermits. This is a UK issue and also includes mostly songs that are not on that other collection. Some of them are, but this has No Milk Today, which that one does not have. So, um, I'm, I think, yeah, this came from Record Crate. Adam, why did you let me buy this? Engelbert Humperdinck's greatest hits. This is from the early days when he was on Parrot Records and London, which of course was their parent label. Quando, Release Me, all of that stuff, but not his '70s stuff. I got this from the Columbia Record Club way back in the '70s. And this was about as complete as you can get, and you can see it is not in the best of shape. This is Anthology from Jackson 5. Sorry about banging the mic there. This has anything and everything you could ever want by the Jacksons up until they left Motown. Everything is on here, and it is fantastic. All my favorite songs on here, the smaller hits that weren't big, like Looking Through the Windows, which is my favorite Jackson 5 song, and stuff, are all on part of this. And as you can see, Ring Where It got a ton of views. To that end, this I got a cut out of this a few years ago, the best of Michael Jackson. This is his Motown years era stuff, from Got to Be There through, um, what was the single off there? Just a little bit of, I thought that was off here. Oh, they didn't put that on here. They put One Day in Your Life, which was done as a single in 1985 after Thriller took off, and this originally came out in 1975. And once again, I don't have Volume 1, but I'm not here. It's on CD. Volume 2, Elton John's Greatest Hits. This is everything from the Bitches Back through Island Girl, Gross and Funky Your Own are on here. Most of the stuff from late 73 through 75 are on here. Oh, Wait a minute. Shifting piles, and I don't want to drop anything. Kansas, the best of Kansas. This has the album versions of most of their hits and a couple of the early stuff too from their earlier proggy albums. Really good stuff. Father Daughter Act from the country charts in the 70s. The Kendalls, the best of the Kendalls, includes their two biggest hits, Heaven's Just a Sin Away and Pittsburgh Steelers. You got a father and daughter talking about having an affair. What the hell? Best of the Kingston Trio. This came from Adam at Record Crate also. I always wanted to have this because it's got MTA, Tom Dooley, and Where Have All the Flowers Gone on it, which I've always loved because I learned them as a kid in school. The best of Friends, Loggins, and Messina. This is all of their big hits as a duo. And it was shortly after this that Kenny would go off and start making his own music. Got this from Record Crate, and I'm so glad I did because this has got everything. I haven't yet transcribed it from vinyl to digital yet. I will one of these days because there is so much stuff on here that I could use on Disco Party. This is Love Unlimited Orchestra, the 20th Century Singles, 1973 to 1979. The immortal Barry White leading right there. Love's Theme, Rhapsody in White, Barry's Theme, Satin Soul, the King Kong music, their version of the theme from Superman, and two albums of 12-inch single versions, which is just freaking awesome. That was worth the 30 something I paid for it. Best of the Manhattan Transfer up next. This has all of their big hits. Interestingly enough, this is Cheryl Benteen and Janice Siegel. They don't mention the fact that Laurel Massey was on some of these songs because these go through 83. Yeah, Trickle Trickle and Birdland are both on here, and Twilight Zone, Twilight Tone, and Boy from New York City. So this goes from about 75 to 83. And Laurel Massey was on the stuff prior to 1979, so they should give her more credit than that. This is weird because these have been re-released. When they were re-released on CD, they split these two into three and added extra tracks. I don't have any of the CDs. I have the original albums, and I'm perfectly fine with that. This is 1978's Barry Manilow Greatest Hits, which all of his stuff from 75 to 78 and several album tracks are on here. I have two copies of Greatest Hits Volume 2, one of which came from, I believe, Don. Um, this has all of his stuff from 79 ships through I'm trying to remember. Read 'em and Weep is the last single on here. So 79 to 83 is this one. And this is also a greatest hits that I'm a little disappointed with. I got this from Black Box. I love Richard Marx, but this is not complete. It's Stories to Tell, Greatest Hits and More. It's a sequel to his memoir. It's adjacent to his memoir of the same name. It only has 8 of his big hits on it. There's no Keep Coming Back, which is one of my favorite songs by him, and a few other things and some demos. It's really great, but it doesn't have all of his hits. The Greatest Hits collection on CD does. So, um, this I got from Steve at Valiant Vinyl. Johnny's Greatest Hits, Johnny Mathis. Chances Are, 12th of Never, uh, Wild is the Wind, Wonderful, Wonderful, all of his best known stuff. I think this is the only Greatest Hits album I have in another language, except for Charles Aznavour. I got one in French and one in Spanish. Con Amor, Tos Éxitos Favoritos from Menudo. This is from their beginnings up through the early 80s with Robbie Rosa and Ray Reyes. I do not believe Ricky Martin appears on this album. This is before Ricky Martin came along. This is the Arista pressing of the Monkees' Greatest Hits. Got this from Dawn. Has all their big hit singles on it. Got this from Black Box. Eddie Money. The best of Eddie Money. Take Me Home Tonight is on pink vinyl. He's an acquired taste. I like a lot of his songs, but Take Me Home Tonight was the best song he ever did, and I think it was the last hit he had too. Getting there, folks. We're more than halfway through. From Here to Eternity, Giorgio Moroder. This is all of Giorgio's early hits from Europe. Gary Morris hits. All these were hits on the country chart, including his probably his biggest hit, I'll Never Stop Loving You, and his version of The Wind Beneath My Wings, which is just stupendous. The Best of the New Seekers. This is from the early 70s and goes up through 74, I think. It has their Eurovision hit Beg, Steal, or Borrow. Their version of Never Ending Song of Love is on here. Look What They Done to My Song, and I'd Like to Teach the World to Sing, which are their two biggest hits in the States. Olivia Newton-John's Greatest Hits. This is Volume 1. I have the complete collection on CD. It's a 2 CD set. This is all of the first few albums and goes up through If You Love Me, Let Me Know, I believe. I'm trying to remember if Let It Shine. No, it has the next couple albums too, so it's through 77. Tony Orlando and Dawn, Greatest Hits. This is all of that. That was on Arista. So that would be everything through Prime Time. If you're looking for He Don't Love You forward, then you need the Electra version. My Best to You, Donny Osmond. Boy, did that get play. Look at that. Look at that right out the side. All of these are from Donny's first 4 albums. One of those records I mentioned getting from Kraft Recordings. This is the best of Buck Owens and Susan Rae. They did some terrific duets together over the years. I have the Susan Rae when it's coming up. This is a really great album. Ray Parker Jr. Greatest Hits. This had 2 new tracks, the Bad Boy and the People Next Door on it, as well as all of his hits through. This is through 83, I think. This is pre-Ghostbusters. Best of Dolly Parton. This is her original Greatest Hits album. Features Jolene, Traveling Man, Touch Your Woman, I Will Always Love You, Love Is Like a Butterfly. All of her best known songs up through 1975 on RCA. 2 collections from the Partridge Family. The Partridge Family at Home with their greatest hits. This includes a lot of album tracks, 5 or 6 singles, and a brand new version of Breaking Up Is Hard to Do that was released as a single, and it peaked at number 25. That song was a hit 4 times it was well known 4 times for 4 different versions in the 70s. And this is The World of the Partridge Family. This also includes Breaking Up Is Hard to Do. This was a set released after the show ended, and also includes music from later albums, Crossword Puzzle, and Notebook. I don't know if anything from Bulletin Board made this album. This is Gene Pitney. This is some of Gene's greatest hits from the 50s and 60s. Actually, I don't think he was around in the 50s. I think he started in like 61. Great stuff on this stuff. Elvis's Golden Records. This came from Steve at Value Vinyl and is surprisingly in not bad shape. Has first 6, 7 albums here. Hound Dog. It goes up through, I believe, goes up through Teddy Bear. I think is the most recent one on this one. I'm not sure because I'm not good with Elvis dates. Queen's Greatest Hits. Great stuff. All their big hits from prior to Radio Gaga is on here. And really good stuff. And this is the Susan Rae 16 Greatest Hits. Includes LA International Airport, which is probably her biggest solo hit. And she had a number of other big hits with Buck Owens as well. Heading into the home stretch, just 2 more segments. Helen Reddy's Greatest Hits. This was reissued on CD with 8 new tracks that added. This has everything from I Am Woman through Ain't No Way to Treat a Lady. Again with the Volume 2s. This is the Righteous Brothers Greatest Hits Volume 2. This has Soul and Inspiration on it. Little Latin Loopy Loo. It is of the era long after Unchained Melody, unfortunately, but it does have a lot of their later stuff that's excellent. Kenny Rogers, Greatest Hits. This is the album that was released that had Lady and Long Arm of the Law as new tracks. Big hit album for him. The earlier hits album here is Here I Got From Dawn, 10 Years of Gold. This is his stuff with both himself and Kenny Rogers in the first edition. All the great hits from Diana Ross. This came out before I left Washington, so early 81, and late enough that Endless Love was recorded on here, even though the movie had not yet come out, and I don't think the single was out yet either. But it's got a massive medley of the stuff from the Supremes and all of her pop hits, her big pop hits. There are a couple missing here. Last time I saw him isn't included, and well, the boss is, which I thought was kind of interesting. Also includes Upside Down and all the stuff that was popular back then. The best of Sam and Dave, classic soul from the 60s at its finest. The Sandpipers' greatest hits, another one of these weirdo gatefolds from A&M Records on these. Guantanamera, All My Lovin', those were their biggest hits. They had some good stuff. Yacht Rock at its finest, Seals and Crofts' greatest hits. This has pretty much everything. It came out in 77, if I'm not mistaken. Collection of early hits from Neil Sedaka. Oh, Carol, and other big hits. These are all from his pre-1964 RCA days. Includes Oh, Carol, Little Devil, Calendar Girl, Breaking Up Is Hard to Do, and all those. The reissue from 2023 on 180 gram vinyl, I believe, from Friday Music of the legendary Bobby Sherman and his greatest hits album. All of his big hits are here, right up through Jennifer, which was from his ill-fated TV series Getting Together. Terrific stuff. The very best of the Shirelles, one of the best girl groups of all time. Soldier Boy is here, dedicated to the one I love. Tonight's the Night, Mama Said, all great stuff. The best of Carly Simon. I have a couple of different completer collections on CD, but this is all of her early Electra hits up through 1975's Attitude Dancing. I am surprised is there a Cat Stevens box set? Because if there is, I haven't got it, and you think I would have by now. Cat Stevens' Greatest Hits. This had one new song in Two Fine People, I believe was released off this album, but everything else were big hits, including Peace Train, Wild World. Unfortunately, the Volume 2 album is the one that had The Hurt on it, which is my favorite song, but I have that on digital anyway. And greatest R&B group of the 70s, the Stylistics, the best of the Stylistics. You can see all the big hits that were off this. Bet You by Golly, Wow, You Make Me Feel Brand New. There was just magic in these guys. All right, let's wind these up. Best of Sticks. This is early Sticks on RCA before they jumped to A&M and started going a little more pop. This has Lady on it, the only big hit off this. It's mostly stuff from their first 4 albums on RCA. Wood Nickel, actually, at the time. Donna Summer on the radio, Greatest Hits Volumes 1 and 2. Everything great on here. On the radio was brand new off this, and the 12-inch single version of Enough Is Enough is only available on this album, or the 12-inch. Boogie Fever and everything else from the Silvers, the best of the Silvers. I always thought the picture was hilarious because it's a backdrop of New York in front of a cardboard cutout of the group. Hotline and Cotton Candy were the other big hits off here. Some of the other ones made dents on the R&B chart. 2 different greatest hits from B.J. Thomas. One from his early days, greatest all-time hits. These are the hits he had from the 60s. This ends with Mighty Clouds of Joy is the last big hit off this from the 1970s, back on Scepter Records. And this is his Christian greatest hits album, The Best of B.J. Thomas. These has all of his contemporary Christian hits. What a Difference You've Made, Without a Doubt, I Want to Be More Like Jesus, and other stuff released on Myrrh. I also have a later greatest hits on CD. I love B.J. Thomas. He's one of my favorite artists. Early greatest hits collection from Three Dog Night, Golden Biscuits. This was from their first three albums. And this is the later one, Joy to the World, their greatest hits. This includes stuff up through 1975, because I'm pretty sure Till the World Ends is on here. I just want to double check. No, that's on the CD I have. So this is the right before Till the World Ends comes out in 1975. Early Tanya Tucker. Tanya Tucker's greatest hits. This is from her first four albums on Columbia. Delta Dawn is here. Blood Red and Going Down. Would You Lay With Me? The Man That Turned My Mama On. And then I have the greatest hits from the early days when she was on MCA. This includes San Antonio Stroll, which is the biggest hit on here. And the odd thing is, there's a CD that comes before this one that has my favorite song by her, Lizzie and the Rain Man. Absolutely fantastic. I love Tanya Tucker. The Best of Gino Vanelli. Gino, a mid-70s crooner, I guess. I Just Want to Stop, Wheels of Life, the biggest hits off this album, and People Gotta Move, which was a hit earlier. This album, if you haven't heard it, is fantastic. This is Venetian Vinyl Best of from Venice. This has all of their, can't say they were hits, but they are crowd favorites. This has all of their favorite songs of their long time, nearly 50-year career in Southern California's music scene. Absolutely fantastic. And if you don't know Venice and you like folky pop rock, this is what you need to get. That came from Black Box, and I was so happy to see that. Bobby Vinton's Greatest Hits and Greatest Hits of Love. It is a 2-record set from Columbia House. All of his early hits from the 60s. And I believe it does include... No, it does not. This is all his 60s hits. No Sealed with a Kiss, and it's way too early for Melody of Love. As I mentioned last time when I showed off the box set, this is the only War album I had until I got those box sets, War's Greatest Hits. Summer was new off this album, and but it has all their other big hits from the 70s, just great stuff. This is a live hits album like the Marvin Gaye. I got this through an auction for $2. It's really good. You have to look at the label to get the order because the songs are listed in alphabetical order on the back. This is the Dionne Warwick story, A Decade of Gold. And ironically, this is on Scepter Records. It includes all of her Scepter hits, but this is after she changed her name to Warwicky, with that elusive E that destroyed her career for 7 years. Still a great album, though. Best of the Weavers. This is classic folk music. The first lady of country music, and I will always love her. Tammy's Greatest Hits from Tammy Wynette. What a voice. And this has got all of her big hits from the 60s and early 70s on it, including Stand By Your Man, DIVORCE, Run Angel Run, Almost Persuaded, and Your Good Girl's Gonna Go Bad, among other things. And finally, this is also not really a greatest hits, but I put it here because it's called a complete label collection. This is Street Man featuring Paul Young, London Dilemma. This has both of their albums on that label, so I figured that's all their hits they're going to have. I might as well put it in the greatest hits. And guess what, folks? We wrapped this up right at 40 minutes. I'm impressed. Way, way better. And considering there was more here than there was in the record store day stuff. But I figured greatest hits, hey, you know what's on there. You can look them up. I hope you've enjoyed this series. We will be next doing radio transcriptions. And then we will be doing a dual show with my holiday and various artists, and that will be followed by my 12-inch single collection. We're getting there, folks. If you've enjoyed this, please subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have, thank you. And please like, share, and comment. Comment, 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 comment. If you could support our GoFundMe, we'd really appreciate it. We're having financial issues right now. Need all the help we can get. We are working our way out of them with your help. Thank you very much. And if you can't afford to donate that way, pick up merch. I've got t-shirts and stuff in our merch store. And you can also come join Patreon or Ko-Fi or Buy Me a Coffee. Any of it will work for us. I thank you for joining me, and I hope you'll join me for the next one. For TC's Vinyl Archive, the complete album collection, I am TC Kirkham, TKR Video Central, and I will see you on the interwebs. Ciao, baby.